My friends, there are moments in life when it feels like heaven has gone silent. You've prayed with tears in your eyes, waited with hope in your heart, and yet nothing seems to move. You've asked yourself, God, did you hear me? Do you still see me? Have you forgotten my prayer? But let me tell you today, heaven has heard you. The silence you feel is not abandonment, it is preparation. What you thought was a delay is actually divine timing. God has not forgotten your name, and He has not ignored your cry. He is working in places you cannot see, aligning situations, moving hearts, and setting the stage for your miracle to arrive. This message is for anyone who has been holding on by faith. For those who are tired of waiting but refuse to give up. Because the truth is, your miracle didn't vanish. It's simply maturing. The prayer you thought went unanswered has been echoing in heaven, and now heaven is responding. The angels are already moving, and divine doors are getting ready to open. What once felt like a dead end is about to become your turning point. So stay with me until the very end, because by the time this message is over, your heart will be stirred again with faith. You'll understand why God made you wait, how your words are shaping your destiny, and why the appointed time for your breakthrough is closer than you think. Don't let doubt distract you. This is your confirmation that heaven has heard you, and the miracle you've been waiting for is already on its way. God has not forgotten your prayer. Every word you have spoken in faith has been recorded in heaven, and every tear you have shed has been seen by the one who never sleeps nor slumbers. There are moments when it feels as if your prayers have vanished into the air, unanswered and unnoticed. But in truth, heaven is more attentive than you realize. God hears not only the words you speak, but the cry of your heart. When you pray in sincerity, even in weakness, those prayers rise like incense before the throne of God. They do not expire, they do not disappear, and they are never ignored. Sometimes the delay between prayer and answer is not a sign of neglect, but a sign that God is arranging the right people, places, and timing to bring forth what is best for you. In moments of silence, it is easy to believe that God has turned away, but silence is not the same as absence. Often, heaven's quietness is the greatest proof that something divine is in progress. Just as a seed buried in the soil grows silently before breaking through the surface, your answered prayer is developing unseen. When it finally emerges, it will make sense why the process took time. God does not forget because His memory is perfect. He holds every promise He made and every prayer you prayed close to His heart. What you prayed about 5 years ago may still be on heaven's agenda. God is faithful to complete what He began, and His timing is always flawless. Your prayer has power not because of your eloquence, but because of your faith. When your words are wrapped in belief, they reach the throne of heaven with authority. God stores prayers like treasures, waiting for the exact moment to release them into your life. Sometimes the answer comes instantly, and other times it comes after a season of endurance, but it always comes. He may not answer in the way you expect, but He always answers in the way that is best. Heaven has its own rhythm, and faith teaches you to trust that rhythm even when it moves slower than your desire. The waiting room of heaven is not a place of rejection. It is a place of transformation where your faith deepens and your heart aligns with divine purpose. When God seems silent, remember that He is never still. His eyes are on you, His ears are open to your voice, and His hands are working on your behalf. Even the prayers you forgot to pray are remembered by Him, because He is a Father who never forgets His children. You may not see immediate evidence, but that does not mean heaven is empty. The divine response may already be in motion, coming through ways you cannot yet perceive. One day, the very thing you have been praying for will manifest, and you will realize that God heard you the very first time you spoke. Heaven never loses track of your voice. It holds your words until the perfect moment arrives to fulfill them with power and glory. Delay is not denial, it's preparation. When God makes you wait, it is never to punish you, but to prepare you for what you prayed for. The waiting season is often the most misunderstood part of faith, because silence feels like rejection and delay feels like denial. Yet, what seems like a delay from your perspective is often divine preparation from heaven's view. God knows that blessings given too soon can become burdens, and open doors entered too early can destroy the very destiny they were meant to fulfill. So in His wisdom, He holds back the manifestation of your miracle until your heart, mind, and circumstances are ready to carry it. The process of waiting refines you, stretches you, and molds you into the vessel that can sustain the blessing once it comes. When you pray for a miracle, you imagine an instant answer, but heaven operates on purpose, not pressure. God is never in a hurry because His timing carries perfection. If He has you waiting, it's because something divine is being constructed, either in you, around you, or through you. Sometimes the waiting is about growth. You may be praying for promotion, but God is still developing the character that will help you remain humble when you rise. Other times, the waiting is about alignment. Certain people and circumstances must move into position before the promise can unfold. Heaven orchestrates life like a symphony. Each note has its moment, and rushing one sound can ruin the entire melody. Delay is also the place where your faith is tested and strengthened. It's easy to believe when everything happens quickly, but true faith is proven in silence. The strength of your belief is not measured by how loudly you pray, but by how patiently you wait. In the waiting, God trains your spiritual endurance. He teaches you to depend on His word more than on your emotions, to trust His timing more than your understanding. Every day that feels like nothing is happening is actually a day where something is being built inside you. A deeper faith, a stronger spirit, a more mature perspective. The waiting season turns your hope into conviction. In divine preparation, God also works behind the scenes, shifting situations that you cannot see. You may think nothing is moving, but God may be moving hearts, preparing opportunities, or redirecting paths that will lead to your answered prayer. His silence is not inactivity, it's invisible activity. The seed planted in the ground does not grow in public view, yet it is alive and developing beneath the soil. In the same way, your miracle is germinating under the soil of time. And when the conditions are right, it will burst forth in its full beauty. When you finally receive what you've been waiting for, you'll understand why the delay was necessary. You'll see that God was not denying you. He was protecting you, preparing you, and perfecting the blessing for your arrival. The waiting season was never a waste. It was the divine workshop where heaven shaped you for your miracle. Faith is heaven's language. It is the invisible bridge between your prayer and God's answer, the spiritual current that connects the human heart to the heart of heaven. God does not respond to emotion, fear, or desperation. He responds to faith. Tears may touch His heart, but faith moves His hand. Many people pray with intensity, but lose power because their hearts are filled with doubt. Faith is not merely believing that God can do something. It is the unshakable conviction that He will do it even when there is no evidence to support it. Faith speaks with certainty when sight sees nothing. It trusts when logic argues otherwise. It holds on when feelings fade. Heaven is tuned to the frequency of faith, and when you speak that language, heaven begins to move in your favor. When you choose to believe, you align your thoughts and words with divine truth rather than temporary reality. Faith does not ignore facts, it transcends them. It looks beyond the visible and anchors itself in the promises of God. Faith says, even if I can't see it, I know it's coming. That type of belief pleases God because it shows complete reliance on His character, not on your circumstances. Faith transforms waiting into worship and fear into confidence. When faith fills your heart, you no longer ask, will God do it? But declare, it is already done. That assurance releases power because what you believe internally begins to manifest externally. Faith is also the language that speaks life over impossibility. When your situation looks hopeless, faith declares hope. When your body feels weak, faith speaks healing. When doors seem closed, faith calls for new ones to open. This language may seem foolish to the natural mind, but it is wisdom in the spirit. Every miracle recorded in Scripture began with someone who dared to speak the language of faith even when surrounded by doubt. The blind man believed he could see. The woman with the issue of blood believed she could be healed, and Abraham believed he could become a father when his body was old. Faith caused heaven to respond. God honors faith because it mirrors His own nature. He spoke creation into existence by believing His word. The challenge is that faith must be maintained even when results are delayed. That's where most people lose connection with heaven's frequency. They stop believing too soon. Faith is not just the key that opens the door, it's the strength that keeps it open until the answer arrives. Each time you declare faith, you reinforce heaven's involvement in your life. Even if your situation grows darker, your faith should grow louder. Keep believing, keep speaking, keep standing. Heaven is not deaf to faith. It responds to it with precision. When faith becomes your language, miracles become your reality. The moment you speak faith, you give heaven permission to intervene on your behalf. Faith invites the supernatural into the natural and transforms impossibility into testimony. The one who walks by faith does not wait for proof. They live as if the promise is already fulfilled, and heaven honors that confidence with divine manifestation. Angels are already on assignment. From the very moment you lifted your prayer to heaven, something in the spiritual realm began to move. Though your eyes cannot see it and your hands cannot touch it, divine activity has already been set in motion. God never leaves a sincere prayer unanswered. He dispatches His heavenly messengers to carry out His will and deliver His promises. Angels are not distant, mythical beings. They are powerful servants of God, assigned to minister to those who believe. They move at the command of His word and respond to the voice of faith. When you prayed in faith, heaven responded instantly, not always in visible form, but in spiritual reality. Just because the answer hasn't reached you yet doesn't mean it isn't on the way. There are times when unseen forces delay the visible manifestation of your prayer. The Bible shows us that even when Daniel prayed, his answer was sent immediately, but it was delayed by opposition in the spiritual realm for 21 days. This means your miracle could already be released, but still traveling through spiritual resistance. However, heaven's army never loses a battle. When God sends His word, it does not return void. The angels assigned to your prayer will fight, clear obstacles, and carry out their mission until what God promised arrives in your life. You may feel forgotten, but heaven is fully aware of your situation and divine messengers are working relentlessly to bring your answer forth. In moments when nothing seems to change, it is vital to remember that heaven's movements are not always seen immediately. Angels operate beyond the limits of time and space, and their assignments often require aligning multiple events and people to fulfill God's perfect plan. While you wait, your faith and words play a crucial role. When you speak faith, you strengthen heaven's activity around you. But when you speak doubt, you hinder the flow of divine movement. Angels respond to the authority of God's word. So when you declare His promises over your life, you give them the instruction to continue their work. Every time you say, "I believe God will make a way," your words echo in the spiritual realm and empower those heavenly messengers to keep fighting for you. There is also protection in their presence. Many times you have been spared from danger, guided away from harm, or directed toward blessing without even knowing it. Those are not coincidences. They are divine assignment. Angels stand guard over your destiny, ensuring that what God started in your life reaches completion. Even when you sleep, they stand watch. Even when you weep, they are near. The silence between your prayer and its fulfillment is not empty. It is filled with invisible movement, divine protection, and heavenly strategy. The answer may not have arrived yet, but the process is active. Every obstacle is being moved. Every delay is being dismantled, and every promise is being prepared for delivery. Heaven's messengers are already working, and your miracle is not on hold. It's on its way, guided by angels on divine assignment. Your words shape the arrival of your miracle. The mouth is not just an instrument for speech. It is a spiritual gateway through which faith or fear is released. Every word you speak carries creative power. When you speak words of faith, you align your atmosphere with heaven's promises. But when you speak doubt and fear, you close the door to what God is trying to send your way. The miracle you have been praying for is not only dependent on divine timing, but also on the consistency of your confession. What you say while you wait determines how heaven moves on your behalf. Words are seeds, and every declaration plants something into the soil of your life. Some grow faith, others grow fear. If you keep speaking faith, your miracle will grow stronger until it manifests in full form. In moments of delay or discouragement, your tongue often becomes your greatest test. It is easy to speak faith when everything looks promising, but real power is revealed when you choose to speak faith in the middle of uncertainty. The waiting season is not a time for complaint. It is a time for confession. Heaven listens to what you say when nothing seems to be working, and those words carry weight. When you declare, "I know my answer is coming," you reinforce the spiritual structure that supports your miracle. But when you murmur, "Nothing ever works for me," you weaken that structure and invite spiritual resistance. God's promises are already established, but your words determine whether you align yourself with them or move against them. Your mouth is a tool of manifestation. Throughout Scripture, God created the universe with His words, showing that what is spoken in faith becomes reality. Because you are created in His image, your words also possess creative potential. When you speak healing, restoration, and provision, you are not merely expressing hope, you are activating divine movement. Angels respond to words of faith because they recognize the sound of heaven's language. The spiritual realm is voice activated, and what you repeatedly speak becomes what you eventually see. Your confession creates the environment for your miracle to arrive and take root. That is why you must guard your mouth carefully, especially when you are tired, frustrated, or afraid. Words spoken in moments of weakness can delay blessings that are already on their way. When you shift your words, you shift your world. Speaking faith changes your perspective, strengthens your spirit, and attracts divine favor. Even if you do not yet see evidence of change, keep speaking life. Every declaration of faith builds momentum in the unseen realm. The power of your miracle lies partly in your mouth. If you want to see heaven move, keep your confession aligned with the promises of God. Speak victory, not defeat. Speak healing, not sickness. Speak abundance, not lack. The moment your words match your faith, your miracle begins to accelerate. Heaven is listening, waiting to act on your declaration. Keep your words filled with life, and they will become the pathway through which your miracle finds its way to you. When the appointed time comes, nothing can stop it. Every miracle, every blessing, every breakthrough carries its own divine schedule. God does not operate according to human clocks or calendars. He moves according to purpose. There is a time for every promise to be fulfilled and a season for every prayer to manifest. While waiting can be painful, the truth is that divine timing ensures that your miracle arrives in its most perfect and powerful form. When that appointed moment comes, no opposition can delay it, no force can hinder it, and no human decision can interfere with it. The same God who set the stars in their positions has already set the time for your breakthrough. What you see as delay is often just heaven waiting for the exact moment when everything aligns for maximum impact. When the appointed time comes, everything happens suddenly. What took years of tears and endurance can turn around in an instant. The doors that once refused to open will swing wide effortlessly. The people who overlooked you will begin to notice you. The opportunities that seem distant will rush toward you. That is how divine timing works. It feels slow until it becomes fast. God often allows things to appear silent because He is orchestrating a sudden shift that will remind you it was never about your effort, but about His purpose. You cannot rush a divine appointment because it must mature within the fullness of God's plan. What He is preparing for you is not just an answer. It is a testimony that will reveal His glory. Sometimes the waiting stretches your faith, but that is part of the design. God uses time as a tool to prepare your heart for the weight of the miracle. If He released it too early, you might not be able to carry it. But when your faith has matured and your spirit has learned to trust, the blessing arrives exactly when it should. And when it does, it comes with peace, permanence, and divine order. There is no confusion in heaven's timing, no error in its delivery. When the appointed time arrives, everything will make sense. Why certain doors stayed closed, why some people left, why the journey was longer than expected. It was all working toward that one moment when heaven's calendar would align with your life. What God has promised cannot be cancelled. It might seem delayed, but it will never be denied. Every prophetic word, every whispered prayer, every hidden seed of faith is waiting for its divine moment. And when that moment comes, resistance crumbles, barriers fall, and everything that once seemed impossible becomes reality. Your responsibility is to stay faithful until that appointed time unfolds. Keep believing, keep standing, and keep praising even when nothing seems to change. The divine clock is ticking, and when heaven strikes your hour, nothing on earth or in hell can stop it. The appointed time is already written, and when it arrives, your miracle will come suddenly, powerfully, and undeniably, just as heaven intended from the beginning. In conclusion, the message is clear. Heaven has already heard you, and your miracle is not lost, delayed, or forgotten. Every prayer you have ever whispered, every tear you have ever shed, every moment you have ever waited in faith has been recorded before God. Though you may have walked through seasons of silence and uncertainty, heaven has never been deaf to your cry. The God who formed the stars and calls them by name has not overlooked you. He has been working behind the scenes, preparing the right moment for your miracle to be revealed. You are not being punished in the waiting. You are being positioned for breakthrough. There comes a moment when the heavens open and what was once invisible becomes undeniable. Your faith has not been in vain. Every word of belief, every act of endurance, every moment of surrender has built the bridge to your answer. The angels have been on assignment, carrying your prayers to the throne and your blessings to your doorstep. The delay you endured was heaven's way of ensuring your blessing comes whole, mature, and lasting. When the appointed time arrives, your miracle will not struggle to find you. It will locate you effortlessly, because what heaven starts, heaven always finishes. So now, stand firm in your faith. Keep speaking life. Keep believing and keep expecting. Do not be discouraged by what you see, for the unseen realm is already alive with movement. The promise is on its way. The door is about to open. The healing is about to manifest. The restoration you've prayed for is closer than you think. Heaven has heard you, and your miracle is coming with power, precision, and purpose. As you continue on your journey, may you walk in unwavering faith, divine timing, and holy expectation. May your spirit stay strong and your hope unshakable, for the God who began the work will complete it in glory. The waiting season is ending, and the season of fulfillment is about to begin. Ask good luck, and thank you for joining this message. May you leave encouraged, renewed, and ready to receive what heaven has already prepared for you. Your miracle is not on the way. It's arriving. Keep your faith alive, for heaven has heard you, and the time for your breakthrough has come.